Yeah, I think we really have hit our stride, especially as songwriters. It feels like we've kind of reached a sweet spot, wouldn't you say?
I would.
Would you say?
We have become incredibly diverse.
Yes, we have. No,
growing, you know.
Yeah, after three albums in now, we've definitely figured out what Sixx AM is and what our sound is, and that's fun because then it gives us the opportunity to experiment with that and take that in new directions, take this entity in new directions. So yeah, I would say that we've definitely hit our stride.
I feel that with this record, even more so than the other records, we just were open to anything. Someone would come in with an idea, and it would be a little left of center. That's actually right. And it would work out because we were open to experimenting, and that's why I think the album is so diverse. But if you go back and listen to the Heroin Diaries and This Is Gonna Hurt, we've always been willing to stretch out. But I just think this album, we took some even bigger chances than before.
The cool part about this album is not only did we go back and get re-influenced by what got us into music originally, but we, wrote songs bringing back different genres of music, and I think that was a fun experience too. Yeah,
this record, Modern Vintage, is a real celebration of all of the different types of music that influenced us and got us to love music and want to be musicians in the first place.
When we were growing up, we all got to experience FM radio. Before FM, there was AM, and it was basically single-driven. And then FM radio became album-oriented rock. So artists were making albums, and they wouldn't make just one type of song. They wouldn't make a single. They would make a whole album, be a listening experience. And we really wanted to make that our template for what we're doing. And people do now kind of go back to the old ways of just cherry-picking singles. You go up to iTunes and people go, oh, I really like that song, and they buy that song. And we want to incentivize people to want to buy a whole record. We think that's the idea of being in a band, is that you make records, you make albums.
What's been exciting about making this record, and as we intentionally decided to go back and explore our influences, what has it been exciting to me, and probably to you guys too, is how similar all of our influences. Mm-hmm. We've known for years that we like a lot of the same type of records, but as we went back and started looking at bands like Queen and Elton John, ELO, David Bowie, it was amazing how big a part of all of our lives those records were. And so it was very easy for us to as we've been saying, to celebrate those type of records. And that's what Modern Vintage really became to us. And we wanted those influences to show through very boldly on this record. We didn't want it to be subtle. We wanted the listener to be able to identify moments in the record and go, oh, that sounds like a Queen type of vocal, or this sounds like a Bowie type of guitar part. And it's been exciting for the music that we've already put out there. We're seeing that from the fans. They're really talking about it. They're engaging in conversations, and hopefully it's starting to remind them of what their relationship has been with music throughout the years. Yes, we did. We were so excited to announce the fact that Sixx AM is finally going to be doing a headline tour.
Yeah, we've had very few opportunities to play together live as a band. When Life is Beautiful came out and went #1, Live Nation called and was doing the Crew Fest with Motley Crue. We had a lot of young bands on that, and they said, we really want to have Sixx AM on the tour. And we said, well, we're not even really a band, and we put together a band to do that. And that's when we really fell in love with the idea of being more than just songwriters and creating music around projects. And besides a few handful things, we haven't had a chance to do it. So now we're going to get to go out. We're going to go out and do 3 weeks worth of touring in the spring. Really excited to have Apocalyptica out as special guest with us, and I think it's going to be a great night. And we're going to get an opportunity to put a visual presentation to the musical presentation.
It's been a pipe dream since day one. Never thought we'd ever tour, and especially not headline. So this is going to be a real treat for us and the fans. So
yeah, it's neat to be able to headline because it gives us the time to actually play music from all 3 records, and that's very exciting to us. We've been chomping at the bit for quite some time now. Well, Jeff is just an incredible drummer. It's very difficult to find a drummer that will fit into a band like Sixx AM. It's because we are a very unusual band. And, I actually met Jeff when I was producing another record. He was playing for a different artist, and having him in the recording studio, it was so clear immediately that this kid has just got that feel. And I think I remember calling both you guys at the time saying, guys, if we ever need a drummer, Jeff is absolutely the guy. So,
and then I saw him, he was playing drums in Filter, and Filter
Yes.
opened for Motley Crue, and you told me that, and I went up and sat side stage and was like, wow, this guy's good.
Yeah.
He's got
You know,
a
it's
great
funny.
feel.
He called me after that and he goes, you know, I'm not sure if Nikki likes me. Can you find out if Nikki likes me? He's like, I don't know. I mean, I know he was really busy, but when I met him, it seemed like maybe I said something that upset him.
Well, he did, actually. He upset me. He upset me by the way he looked.
No, but Jeff was absolutely incredible. He came to my studio in Nashville and we recorded all of the songs in 4 days. He just nailed it. We knew it was very important on this record to have a real drummer as opposed to programming the drums because in the spirit of modern vintage and everything that we were trying to create with this, performance is where it all starts. We, you know, from the creating of the songs to the way that they are performed. That's what we loved about those great rock records of the 60s and 70s. You know?
And you know, the other thing is we are so close and we're friends before anything else. So to bring another musician in for us, it's chancy. You can upset the apple cart really easy. And Jeff has such a great personality. He really fits in. And the whole time rehearsing for our show at the iHeart Theater, we did nothing but laugh.
Yeah.
He fit right in with us. And in fact, he's a little bit crazy.
He's a little bit
bit crazy, which is perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, Motley Crue has been my life and my love and my passion for over 30 years. And for me to be able to be involved with Motley Crue on our final tour and watching it wind down together with the original four guys it feels so great. At the same time, I'm building something new with DJ and James, and we've been working on it for quite a few years and been taking our time. And Motley Crue's kind of been a priority where I couldn't really go out and focus on Sixx AM as much. So once Motley Crue has taken its final bow, that's when we're going to really be able to turn the heat up here. And musically, it all comes under rock, but I would say there are two completely different interpretations of rock.
Well, I think it was Nikki's idea. I mean, we all originally, this is our third record, and we all talked about finally doing a cover song. And we're throwing around some ideas, and I think Nikki was the one who called and sang it to you originally. And then I got a phone call, and I was like, wow, you know, we all kind of agreed that it would be a great Sixx AM remake.
Yeah, we knew we wanted to do a cover on this record because we wanted to, you know, as we were discovering who we've become as a band, part of that was to discover as musicians how we would interpret somebody else's song. Right. We know how we're going to perform songs that we write, but it was exciting for us to interpret somebody else's song. The decision to do Drive, I thought it made a lot of sense once we really dug in and looked at what that song was made up of. It was when you listen to the lyrics of Drive, it's right in line with what Sixx AM has always done. It's this beautiful kind of balance between sadness and joy, you know, darkness and beauty. And Sixx AM has always done that in all of our songs. And when you listen to the lyrics of Drive, it's an incredibly sad story. The message of that song is very painful, very isolating. So it really fit right into what we do as a band lyrically. And then it was just a matter of us looking at that message and figuring out how we wanted to shift the focus. And we really wanted to shift the focus onto that message and on that lyric. And that's why we started off as a very intimate piano ballad, and then it kind of cascades from there. But I think that when people listen to it, they will rediscover the actual message of the song.
When we play that song live next to other songs, it sounds like a Sixx AM song.
Yeah.
It really fits right in.
What's cool is a lot of these young kids probably, you know, there's a good chance they've never heard the original. So it's kind of cool. I remember growing up and listening to songs that I fell in love with, and it took 10 years before I found out, oh my God, they didn't write that song.
Right.
So it's kind of cool not only introducing different genres of music to the younger generation, but classic songs such as The Cars is kind of a cool thing.
I have not heard from anybody in the Cars camp. I've heard from a lot of fans of the Cars and said that Benjamin would be proud. I've seen that a lot on our Facebook page, and we hope that's true. And I would love to get a phone call from someone like Rick Ocasek and say, you know, you did it great. It's touchy territory when you cover somebody else's song. You really want them to feel like you did the song right, but at the same time, you have to do what's right for you. And so you never know if it really resonates with them or not.
Right. I think that songwriting in general is interesting in the sense that once the song is done, it's constantly being reinterpreted by the listener. Right. In our case, the listener also happens to be a band that can, you know, give our interpretation of it. But, you know, hopefully it is, you know, hopefully they feel it does respect the original version. We certainly feel it celebrates the original version. And that song meant so much to all of us and had such a huge impact on our lives that this has just been a really neat experience to be able to re-record it. You know, that was it was probably the midway point of the record where
I can't really remember how that song came to be.
Well, I know that
did it start with a riff,
I remember playing a weird herky jerky riff.
Yeah,
a beat I think you had.
Yeah. And actually, our good friend Blair Daly co-wrote that with us, and so there was this kind of seed of an idea. But what it was that I loved about that song is how the franticness of the music really marries perfectly to the franticness of the lyric. That lyric is just about that anxiety that you feel when you have possibly met the person, you know, and yet there's all of this almost panic that you go through at that moment when you realize, well, what if this person doesn't feel the same way that I feel about them? This whole song takes place in that frantic moment. Yeah, and so what we did is we intentionally made the entire song very panicky, very frantic, and that explains why it's such a fast tempo, and you play this really crazy riff that just, it makes you anxious to hear. And then the song actually, at the end of it, there's actually hyperventilating going on, and I'm kind of breathing really heavily, and then it ends on this intake of air, and the whole intention was that it would make the listener kind of gasp for a second at the end, and so that was a neat one for us. It's always fun when you can take a lyric and really have it come to life and really marry it to the music and you know, emotionally.
We found as lyricists over the years, you can have a pretty broad subject. You can actually narrow it down to 100 different moments within that subject, and this is an example of that.
Yeah. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't have a song like Miracle on the record, because we all have, you know, even though it really stands out on the record as being very, very different than the others, it's more of almost a disco type of influence, wouldn't you say? Or I mean, like
it definitely can have some of that to it. Some of those great songs that came out of the 70s, and you know, easy to reference the Bee Gees, but there's 20 bands that were writing music around that time, and Michael Jackson's another artist, and it doesn't sound like something that you would hear in the same sentence as Sixx AM, but neither would Wings or ELO. Right. Or, you know, Bowie and a lot of the other artists. You wouldn't really think of Sixx AM and think of that. And we just really wanted to like lay it out there, take the influence in, and then let it happen on its own. Yeah. And at no point did we ever say, oh, we want to make a disco record or a ragtime record, or, you know, even songs like we've done in the past, an album that's based on narration, but we did let it happen.
Yeah.
When it was supposed to happen.
Well, first off, the writing process has always been the same with Sixx AM. It's very important to us that the three of us get together and write in person, you know, or at least start ideas together, as opposed to nowadays it's very easy to send files back and forth and do things via Skype. But you know, this band was started and founded on a friendship, so it's very important for the three of us to be in one space together and actually, you know, interact that way. So that's been consistent through all three records for the writing of it. The recording of it has always been a bit of a logistical challenge for us, because obviously the schedules are very, very different, and we all live in different places.
For a while, you were still in Nashville.
I was still in Nashville, yeah.
DJ's living in Las Vegas, and I'm in Los Angeles, so That becomes a little bit, difficult to get us all together, and then there's touring and producing records and writing for other artists. So to have those moments when we could like carve out a week and just spend a week sitting in a circle writing, that's really the magic of what this band's about.
Yeah, we've always made it a point to never resort to doing things just sending files back and forth. That's, some bands do that and it works very well for them.
We've never worked on a calendar, so to speak. We don't go, oh, it's time to work on a record because we have to release it on this release date. We just kind of naturally feel that once the last album, This Is Gonna Hurt, has kind of run its course, and then when we feel inspired, we start getting together, and it took us 2 years to make this record.
Yeah, it did, and we're very, very lucky to have a label like 11/7 that understands that and actually encourages us to explore things and take as much time as we need to make a record. That's a very rare freedom to be given as a band, and we're very, very fortunate.